Colleague of my wife tried to frame her and blackmail her that she cheated on me. I started an investigation, and it is a shock what I found out. I was utterly oblivious to the laughing and inquisitive glances directed at me when I unexpectedly found myself in a moment of isolation one late evening. I was the last to learn of a terrible personal discovery, but it wasn't my unpleasant circumstance that made them laugh. The fact that I had been completely oblivious to what was transpiring right in front of my eyes was particularly funny to them. How on earth could a husband fail to see that his wife was unfaithful? During last week's party, Noah Collins, who seemed to know my wife well, was describing to his buddy Jack Turner how he had wooed her. At the same time, a nearby museum needed my help investigating a break-in. I departed for almost 3 hours and came back before the night came to a close. As soon as I got back to the house, I saw my wife seated at a table with Noah Collins, his employer, and their wives. Hi, I am Ryan Adams, and I work as an insurance investigator for a famous firm that works with customers who own very valuable properties. Even though most people have never heard of my occupation before, I've been doing it ever since I finished college more than 10 years ago. Now that I am 35 years old, I feel like I am living my best life. My work entails examining occurrences that might result in significant compensation claims, such as robberies and thefts, as well as occasional multi-vehicle accidents. My work is well respected and I'm very competent in my field. For a premium, other firms often hire me. Despite how often I travel, it's usually not for extended durations. I have a crew that can remain on site for the duration of any inquiry that may be necessary. After 12 years of marriage, Anna and I are blessed with 2 beautiful children, Emily, who is 9 years old, and Grace, who is 7 years old. My elder sister Anna is William Parker's personal secretary at the same firm where I work. William is the president of the company. I pushed her to apply for a job at the firm after she lost her last one, even though we were married before she started working there. Due to our established rapport, HR was willing to waive the nepotism regulations that prevented us from recruiting her. Luckily, William Parker needed a new secretary, and Anna was a great match because of her background as a personal assistant for a large firm. He extended the offer of employment immediately after the interview. My previous mentions of Noah Collins and Jack Turner are accurate. They are insurance experts who work with very rich people and corporations. They report to Matthew Brooks, whom we both know and who is a great friend of mine. Nevertheless, we are not close friends. Although Matthew sometimes assigns me intriguing tasks, I mostly report to William Parker and operate autonomously. A troubling discussion was overheard by me a week subsequent to the celebration. I was going to take a little break when Noah and Jack strolled into the bathroom, apparently oblivious to the locked door, and immediately began rehashing details of the party. Something much worse than food sickness started to build in my stomach as Noah started boasting to Jack about his recent victory. Since he had never considered her to be that kind of lady, Jack was startled and wanted to know how Noah had managed to woo her. According to Noah, they danced for a while, and she appeared amiable. He persuaded her to have a drink at the bar with him, despite her protests that Ryan wouldn't approve of their planned visit to his office. Noah went on to explain that Ryan sneakily switched drinks with Anna while they were dancing, since the bartender gave him a double shot. He wanted to ease Anna into a state of relaxation so he could start making moves on the dance floor. Noah said that he hadn't intended for Ryan to leave, rather, it was pure chance when Jack cast doubt on his strategy in light of Ryan's presence. While they were dancing, Ryan informed Anna that he had to take a little break. Ryan urged Anna to remain and enjoy herself, despite her request that he take her home first. He then promised to be back soon. Though she was less than enthusiastic, Anna consented and remained behind with Noah, Matthew, and his wife. After that, Noah discreetly asked Mike to double Anna's drink without her knowledge, so she could have another one. Anna was more drunk as they danced, gripping onto Noah tightly as he moved. She leaned in close to him many times while laughing. She gulped her second drink rapidly as Noah gave her another one, thinking that would finalize the transaction. She began to feel really lightheaded, and she had no idea it was another double. Anna agreed with Noah's suggestion that they go outside and get some air. They found themselves crammed into his car's rear seat. He slipped his hand inside her skirt as she was on the verge of unconsciousness. She was completely submissive and even asked for more. He did what she asked, and she seemed pleased. It was an incredible experience for Noah. Since Anna had never seemed to be the kind to cheat or be interested in Noah, He found it hard to imagine that she would act in such a manner. Assuring his buddy that everything had transpired as planned, he brought up a planned outing with Anna the next Friday, when she would normally visit the salon. They intended to arrange to meet up and reserve a room at a nearby hotel. Envious Jack couldn't help but notice how beautiful Anna was, and pondered what Ryan had done to merit her affection. After Noah finished with Anna, he even hinted about meeting her. Noah offered a vague maybe and emphasized the need of keeping things under wraps to prevent problems. I was left to process what I had just heard when they departed from the toilet. Is this really transpiring? That night, memories began to flood back. At almost 10:00 p.m., I saw Anna sitting with Noah, Julie, and Matthew Brooks when I got back to the party. When I joined them, Anna didn't seem to be inebriated. With Julie, she was discussing about the kids. After Noah and I had a brief conversation, he quickly departed. I didn't give it much thought till I saw Anna mumbling something to him. Our arrival home was the only peculiarity of that evening. Making love was Anna's desire. Although not completely unusual, it seemed strange considering the circumstances. Although she usually doesn't feel like it at this hour of the night, she was very ardent that night, as if propelled by remorse or shame. I didn't see any difference in Anna's mood following the party, which was about a week ago. She made no reference to the fact that I left the party early or to what transpired while I was gone. She said she primarily watched Noah and Matthew dance when I inquired. Julie and her, she said, had brief conversations on the kids' extracurriculars in school. She went so far as to say she would have rather gone home after I left, which made it clear I needed to watch her more closely. I said, "Are you free on Friday? I was hoping to play tennis if that works for you," while keeping a tight eye on her response. "This Friday, right after lunch, I'll be at the salon. It'll take me an hour, maybe an hour and a half." "Where are you heading?" she said in a casual manner. "No doubt about it," I said. "To the tennis court." My gut nodded up in response. If she hadn't informed Noah about her ambitions, how would he have known? Like you, I had no idea about it. It was all too real in a way. I am exploring the possibility of the sports club. Perhaps I could inquire with Jack Turner about joining. He and Matthew are typically game, I persisted, seeking more hints. She responded in a condescending manner, asking, "Don't you think Jack and Matthew are idiots?" "I'm not sure. I know Matthew is, but I don't know Jack or his wife well enough to say," I said, attempting to maintain objectivity in the meeting. "What about Noah Collins? You had a conversation with him at the party, didn't you?" "Perhaps he would be interested in joining us," I said, intently observing her response. Anna glanced at me strangely, then paused before answering. She said, "Why would you want him to come? He is an idiot. I had to dance with him a few times at the party, and he really creeped me out. He's still an idiot now." I couldn't tell whether she was trying to make me not invite him, or if she was trying to convince me she despised him. In any case, her discussion about that individual was out of the ordinary. "Oh, I don't know much about him, but he asked Jack his friend, and they seem close. Maybe it's not a good idea. I'll just call Tom and Eric, they're always up for a round," I said, stepping away from the subject. "It seems like that is the preferable course of action." "Avoid Noah at all costs. You would prefer not to get into problems," she remarked, seeming reassured. "All right, he is off my list now. So you are okay with tennis?" I put forth. "I am fine with it. As long as I am at the salon, how about dinner at the Evergreen Inn afterward? I'll have a fresh haircut, and you can unwind after tennis. You can take me out and show me off." She proposed dropping Emily and Grace off at her parents' house. Our meeting time was set at 5:00 p.m. at my house after I gave my okay to get ready for Friday. I could have confronted her that day with ample proof if I had been more careful. We should have gotten down to business over supper at one of the best restaurants in town. At work the next day, I went to the control room to get the necessary equipment to follow my wife and her boyfriend. On Friday morning, I went tennis playing, so I took one of the company's security vehicles and left it in the lot. I snatched a GPS device for her car, 2 little transmitters for her bag, and a third for her car. It could determine her precise whereabouts whenever she wanted. Since Noah brought up a hotel, I was unsure on how to use the van's camera capabilities. There was no way to film it. Maybe I could sneak a camera under her coat if I had any idea she'd wear it. I could give it a go, but I wouldn't know why. I was able to follow her whereabouts by using the GPS device and connecting it to the van's systems. Within 20 meters, it could locate her exact position according to the local street maps. The sound wave recordings made inside the vehicle would be captured by TERS. I wasn't even need to be in the vehicle since this could all be automated. I only had to walk about 1 mile away from her previous week's location. I intended to devote the remainder of the week to observation. It's my job, so naturally I am quite good at it. Nothing out of the ordinary stood out to me as I watched Jack and Noah. I usually pay my wife a visit once a day, but I've been going a little more often as of late. I opted to get information from Jack even though I hadn't seen anything strange up to that point. He went on to say that he was formulating policies for a massive industrial complex, while I would often spend time surveying the property and making emergency preparations. As a component of risk insurance, this is called risk analysis. I remember one Tuesday going up to his desk, the one across from Noah. It seemed as if he was completely absorbed in his task. I said hello and told him I wanted to go over the day's production schedule with him. After he grasped my desire, he nodded in agreement and said he was available whenever I needed him. At first, he seemed preoccupied. I had to go back to that spot to get some more shots. We settled on leaving in around an hour after discussing the time. Someone from my team was going to swing by my desk on their way over. I rounded the bend after overhearing a short conversation and saw Jack and Noah exchange grins. Until I was out of sight, they kept staring at me. I found them to be fascinating people. It was my firm decision that Jack would not get away with his misbehavior. He wasn't too personally engaged, but he did conspire with Noah and trash-talked my wife. He knew about the scheme and decided to see Noah's deceit. Thus, in my view, he was just as guilty as Noah. We got in my SUV and headed out an hour after Jack showed there as planned. One of the tiny transmitters, which could pick up any sound coming from inside or around the automobile, was covertly placed in the center console. I just wanted to make sure I had a record of our private chat. I started talking as we started the 15-minute drive to the plant from the parking area. I attempted to ease into the subject by asking, "So Jack, did you enjoy the party last week?" "I wasn't there. I was away on a trip and missed out on the festivities," said the man. In light of Noah's treachery concerning my wife, I made it clear to Jack that I wanted to know what had piqued his interest. Could it be the thing he had failed to notice? I inquired. My candor caught Jack off guard, and he had trouble finding the right words to reply at first. He almost reached for the door handle when he gathered himself and looked directly into my eyes. He said, with a hint of skepticism, that he was just aware of what Noah had told him, and that he was unsure whether or not what he had heard was indeed accurate. "Do you honestly believe that Noah would fabricate such a tale?" I said, my tone betraying my concerns. Jack shrugged after giving it some thought. "It's difficult to determine, but what makes him lie about something of that nature? I happened to overhear him discussing getting her drunk and driving her to his car. How were you informed about it if you weren't present?" I probed more, demanding greater information. With an uneasy expression on his face, Jack eventually spoke out, saying, "Noah told me about it afterward. He mentioned your 2-hour absence coinciding with the incidents." I nodded, taking note of the details. That was just the start. The truth needed to be unearthed, so I dug further. Beyond what he had already said, Noah seemed to have no more intentions. Recounting Noah's comments, Jack hesitated, doubting the veracity of the narrative. I thanked him for his friendship and made a sardonic remark about Jack's devotion, all the while implying that he should have informed me no matter what. Jack apologized for making me feel foolish and reluctantly said that he wouldn't want this on anybody. Noah had said that he couldn't resist my wife, and he brought it up again. I turned off the recorder after Noah spoke because I didn't need to want our following chat to be recorded. Even though I warned Jack of dire repercussions in the event that he disregarded my directions, I comforted him that everything would be okay if he did as I said. With a telltale sign of unease, Jack nodded in accord. After that, I dropped hints that we should talk about something else. I told Jack not to tell Noah anything, and I told Noah not to hear a word we spoke. He would lose his job and have his reputation ruined if he betrayed anyone's confidence, which is why I emphasized how serious the repercussions are. I informed him that I could keep an eye on him and Noah in case they made a mistake. Jack was told to keep on as normal and not interrupt Noah while he was speaking, and I told him that I would not confront or engage with Noah in any way. Now that I knew the truth, I told Jack to listen to my warnings and that everything would be well if he did what I said. Following that, we proceeded to spend the following 2 hours in relative quiet. I kept Jack in the dark about my intentions while I performed my job of gathering the facts I needed. Jack did his job well. He didn't have to know everything at this point. I kept a careful eye on Anna all week long. I was on high alert, even though she didn't do anything out of the ordinary. The kids had their dancing lesson on Wednesday night, and it concluded at around 8:30 p.m. Anna came over to sit on my knee while I watched TV in the living room. Encircling my neck, she pressed her face to mine. She recommended making love, because we still have an hour before I have to pick up the kids. Her voice had a hint of seduction and urgency in it. I was still just a human being, even if the circumstance had made me furious and frustrated. I felt myself becoming aroused, even though it was against my better judgment. I kissed her passionately while holding her securely. "I need you, and I need it now," she moaned frantically, pleading with him to whisk her upstairs to their bedroom immediately. I silently followed her upstairs, taking in her beautiful physique. After we undressed, we made passionate love. After that, we embraced one another and enjoyed the warmth of the afterglow. I forgot about my uncertainties and the possibility that everything may crumble for a second. Reality kept seeping back in, even if I wanted to think it was all an illusion. "That was absolutely brilliant, my love. I don't think we do enough of these kinds of things together. Our rhythm has been off recently, so let's make sure it doesn't happen again," she remarked in a gentle, contented tone. In an effort to lighten the tone, I said, "Agreed. I'll make sure of it. How much time do we have? Do we have time for a quick shower? I have to pick up the kids after 8:00 p.m., but we can delay it if you want now, or should we wait until our date on Friday night?" "I could ask the kids to stay at their Grandma S for the night," said the woman. "How about this? I'm all yours for the evening. Anything else planned for Friday?" said I. "Okay, you've got tennis, and I've got a hair appointment. Then we have our dinner date, and afterward, I am all yours whenever you want, however you want. I expect plenty of that from you. Any better offers now?" she said. "Absolutely not at all," I said with a smile. Soon after saying, "All right, then we reset," she hurriedly got dressed and went to get the kids. For a while I laid there, thinking about all that had transpired. Given her relationship status with Noah Collins, how is it possible for her to be so loving and personal with me? Was she also an accomplished actress? I could tell she was smart. Something didn't seem right, and I was hell-bent on discovering what was going on. I made sure the transmitters were operational on Friday while she was gone. On Thursday night, I intended to put them in her vehicle and her handbag. With the exception of my last appointment with Jack Turner, I was completely prepared. Which hotel had Noah booked, I had to know. I would have to take more extreme action if I didn't ask Jack to collect that information for me. I contacted Jack the next morning, and we agreed to meet in the cafeteria on the second level. He nodded in agreement. He showed up just as I was taking my place at the table. I skipped the small talk and went right to the subject as he quietly joined me. "Jack, I need you to find out from Noah where he is planning to take Anna on Friday. I need the Motel S name and location." I told him in a tone that left no space for debate. "Find him alone and question him. Let him know you think he's lying to you, and that you'll believe him if he's honest." Jack was visibly afraid of my retaliation as he hesitated. In the end, he consented, but he wanted to know how I could determine whether he was being truthful. I told him not to be concerned since I had my methods. Before he departed, I slipped one of the transmitters inside the collar of his jacket. Because he was so anxious, he failed to see anything. I turned on the receiver in my office and then heard Jack go back to his desk to start chatting with Noah. After 10 minutes, Jack asked Noah to meet him in the copy room, and Noah gladly accepted. Concerning possible marital problems, Jack proceeded to interview Noah. Noah, in an effort to put me on the defensive, said that everything was good and that he had seen me the day before, acting normally. Jack, still unfulfilled, interrogated him more about his Friday intentions with my wife, bringing up the subject of a hotel in particular. Noah was unwavering in his honesty and would provide evidence if asked. Friday night, with check-in at 1 p.m., he had reserved a room at the Valley View Motel on Elm Street, he said, with my wife's arrival scheduled at 1:15 p.m. Furthermore, he suggested contacting the hotel via phone to verify. After Noah confirmed everything, he made a derogatory comment about my marriage and told Jack not to get involved in their affair. He seemed frightened, but he nodded in accord nevertheless. Because Noah didn't seem to care, I took it as a sign that he was just as interested as my wife. I was filled with a combination of shock and rage after hearing this conversation and decided to switch off the telephone. Noah corroborated everything, which left me uneasy, even though I had hoped he would confess to lying. Now that I had the Motel S location, I intended to install surveillance gear in the vehicle. I was overwhelmed with thoughts. I could leave the vehicle there on Thursday night, turn on the gear on Friday at noon, and stay away from my wife so I don't have to see her treachery. Obtaining tangible proof to provide to Anna, Noah, and Jack became my only option at this point. My next step was to contact the hotel, and they verified Noah's reservation. Thankfully, it was accurate. After receiving that confirmation, I was left to wait until Thursday night. What if I secretly recorded their entrance to the hotel room? When the thought occurred to me. I chose that day to scout the region by visiting the hotel. I awaited the clerk's arrival inside the Valley View Motel office. He had an air of mystery about him that worked well for my goals. Truthfulness was not required of me at this moment. "Excuse me, sir. I must confess that I am an insurance company investigator in need of certain details. Enclosed herewith are my identification documents and a warrant," I said, brandishing my badge and offering a rather believable, albeit counterfeit, paperwork. I also gave him a little bit of cash, and it didn't harm. He said, "Sure, what do you need?" As his expression brightened at the sight of the cash. "I need to confirm Noah Collins' reservation and get a room number," I informed him. Shaking his head, he reviewed his documents. "No room assigned yet." I offered, "How about you assign a room on the first floor overlooking Elm Street?" as I handed him another $60. After hesitating for a second, he finally agreed and gave me the ideal room number. He shrugged indifferently when I told him about the vehicle that would be parked on his land. I gave him another $30 to show my appreciation for his discretion, and thanked him once again. The way he discreetly took the money told me he would be silent. It occurred to me as I was leaving that I could get the shots I wanted by pointing the camera out the front window of the van that was parked just outside their room. I had a strategy. My focus was all over the place on Thursday at work, making things difficult. I went to William Parker's office to divert my attention by claiming to be there to discuss a recent museum heist. The technicalities weren't pressing, but seeing Anna was my true motivation. Seeing me in the corridor made her smile widely, and she motioned for me to come over to her table. With a mischievous grin on her lips, she remarked, "I've been seeing more of you lately. Not complaining, but what's changed? Anything I should know about?" Her question was filled with playfulness. "Nothing much, just enjoying being around you more," said I. "Is William here?" she said. "He is." "Would you like me to introduce you?" she offered. "Yes, if possible. I need to discuss some matters regarding the museum," I pointed out. I started a discussion as soon as I stepped into William's office. William had a stellar reputation even though he was still very young. He was the driving force behind many projects, one of which was the website I was a part of, and he had a significant financial interest in the business. Leah, his wife, was the quintessential trophy wife, beautiful, slim, and blonde, and we had met several times. William and I had become close, and she and Anna, who were around the same age, would frequently sit and converse. William was brought up in conversation when I inquired specifically about Noah Collins. Though this query was personal, it was part of my job description to provide input on the performance of other workers. "Why is Noah being discussed? Is there anything I need to know?" William said, his curiosity piqued. "I need to ensure any potential issues with my team are addressed promptly," said I. "Well, I do have some concerns about Noah. I'm not particularly fond of him or Jack. I might have more to share this weekend if things go as anticipated. How about we touch base at my place on Saturday? If not, we'll reconvene on Monday," said William. "Let's wait and see. Please keep this between us," I asked for. "Agreed, I trust your judgment. You've always been fair in your evaluations. By the way, I'd like you to reconsider the vice president position I proposed. I haven't discussed it with Anna yet, but she deserves to know. If you don't inform her soon, I will," he said with conviction. "I'm waiting for the right moment. This entails significant changes for us, so I needed time to deliberate. I'll give you an update next week," said I. The meeting came to a close with William saying, "Sounds good. Think it over. Weigh your options. We'll talk soon." P.S. I said hello to Anna as I left William's office and then made my way to Jack. Noah was sure to catch my remark on the factory's performance, which I made while pausing at his desk. Subtly, I let Jack know that I had overheard his chat with Noah, which caught him off guard. We didn't say anything more, but I gave him a peck on the back and took out the little transmitter without his knowing. I waited for Anna before going home, finishing off the day without interruptions. I was going to let her know that I would be little late since I had to drop off the van. Farewell, she kissed me and departed. Standing beside the entrance, I saw Noah seeing her go. Before getting back to his seat, he stole a quick peek in my direction. It was after that I got the vehicle parked and checked that the camera was pointed in the right direction to record the room that the clerk had designated. I slipped the hotel owner an additional $20 and told him to let it remain tonight, maybe even until the following day. I then secured it. For his help, I thanked him. After we sealed the transaction, he shook my hand and took the money. An unforeseen turn of events occurred Thursday night while returning home. The kids would be spending the evening at Grandma S' house, thanks to Anna S' takeaway order. Anna told me that she wanted to keep going since our Wednesday night was so fun. I asked her why. So was it bothersome? In no way. I couldn't shake a nagging sensation as Thursday night followed a pattern identical to Wednesday. Even though I was having fun, I couldn't get rid of the jitters. From whence had she gotten these fresh methods? She chuckled, retrieved a book from her nightstand, and gave it to me when I questioned her about it afterwards. Making love beyond the age of 35 was the topic of the article. Many of our activities from the previous 2 evenings were detailed on the pages. Despite the odd nature of the circumstance, I enjoyed our evening activities as I tried to satisfy her demands. We stayed up all night kissing, and I vowed to myself that I would remember to stock up on vitamins for our next meeting. As we lay side by side, "Anna, I love what we've been doing, and I want to make you happy. I need to ask, where's all this coming from? Why now? If I didn't trust you so much, I might think there's a guilty conscience at play. Sorry, Ryan. Leah shared something with me last week that I can repeat. It got me thinking about our life together, and it made me so happy. Sometimes I just need to express that joy. I wanted to show you how much you mean to me," she said, her eyes full of sincerity. Emotions whirling around inside of me, I listened. How could she be involved in an affair if this were to be proven true? Am I to approach her right now? I'm glad you feel that way. Are you sure I make you happy enough? Are you satisfied with our closeness, or do you feel something is missing? Please be honest, I told you. I adore our closeness, and you've always made me feel complete. I don't want more, I just don't want our passion to fade into routine. Can't you see? Don't you want me to always feel desired by you? She said with seriousness. You'll never have to worry about that. I love you and always will. I can't imagine anything jeopardizing what we have, she said calmly. That's great news because I will ensure that nothing separates us, she said, drawing nearer. We remained together for the remainder of the night, and we awoke in the same manner. I roused Anna up and dragged her into the shower with me. Even though I was delightfully weary, I wanted to shower with her. She first objected, but in the end she came over to sit under the warm shower with me, and we cared for one another gently. Our rekindled love returned quickly, and we reveled in one another's company. She went on to say that she was prepared for the day ahead, but that she was hoping for something more that evening. We then got dressed quickly after finishing the shower, and I headed to the hotel to finish getting ready. Every timer was set to go off at noon, and I gave the audio recording a good 5 hours to spare. Burning the compressed video material onto a DVD would be a 7-hour procedure that would capture the whole day. The sequences were started and the vehicle was locked by me. As soon as these two set foot in their private haven, they would steal the show in my next feature picture, and the premiere would be one for the record books. When I got back to my house to get my tennis gear and say goodbye to Anna, the day was a dumpster fire. My performance was dismal when I played tennis with 2 club friends. Buying drinks for everyone made me feel like a total failure at the end. I went to the vehicle at 6 o'clock in the evening to make sure everything was okay. Assuming that everyone had gone, I checked the area and didn't see any vehicles or people. After a brief phone chat, Anna returned my call, and I informed her that I was en route. My meeting with Anna was quickly approaching, so I got in my car and headed home without seeing the camera footage. I considered presenting her with the proof before dinner, but I opted to enjoy our last night together instead. It didn't stop me from enjoying making out with her after the betrayal, but I choked at the prospect of losing her. Why was she assaulting me in this way? It was infuriating to think about a world without her because of how much I loved her. Divorce would have been unavoidable if the proof proved my suspicions. She acted in an unpleasant manner, but how about our kids? She had every right to custody as a caring mother. She must have cheated for some purpose that I am unaware of if that is the case. She had done the right thing in her heart, but she had blown it. I may be able to accept it. I could pay child support and she could take care of the kids. As I drove home to be with Anna, these thoughts overtook me. I didn't think I could make it through the night. Legal action could not be taken until I had tangible proof, but uncertainty continued to haunt me. Took it in stride. The proof I needed would be readily available to me. The facts were facts. Anna had already washed and dressed at home, saying that she would put the final touches before leaving. At the same time, I rushed to get dressed so that we could leave promptly for our reservation. Whenever we walked into a room, my wife's bright beauty was sure to turn heads. She gracefully avoided men's admiring looks, but I couldn't help but notice her prideful demeanor. What might have happened was starkly reminded of tonight. She was a great dinner companion because, despite everything, she kept her intelligence and charisma. While she drank more wine than normal, we spoke about the usual suspects for a night on the town. She was being quite flirty with me, and I noticed it since I was the designated driver. After finishing our chocolate mousse and sorbet dessert, we grinned at each other and were ready to go to bed. I waved to the waiter to bring me the bill when we got back to the house, and Anna went to the bathroom. We walked to the vehicle together after leaving. With our fingers intertwined, Anna rested against my shoulder as I made my way down the main street to our home. Without much prodding, I embraced her firmly, remembering our early love as she delicately transferred my hand from the wheel to my lap. We drove home embraced tenderly as she moaned pleasantly. With boundless enthusiasm, Anna got right to work around the house once she got home. At last she looked across at me, her eyes sparkling with mischief. In spite of my inner struggle, I managed to respond with an enthusiastic absolutely. Lead the way. She then on to ask whether we shouldn't resume our conversation from earlier in the day, as you owed me. With growing excitement, we hurried up the flight of steps. As I undressed to my underwear and socks, Anna stood by the bedside, her gaze fixed on me. She took off her bra and top, revealing nothing but a pearl necklace. I intervened just as she was about to take them off. Keep them on. Those pearls make you look stunning. This is a rare opportunity. I am totally yours tonight, I said, attempting to lose myself in the moment. I am completely at your disposal, she said with an air of genuine want and passion. There was a part of me that wanted to trust her no matter what. I resolved to set my uncertainties aside and concentrate on the here and now. We ventured into uncharted territories of intimacy, testing out new postures and sensations. Anytime I asked her about her dreams, she would giggle and point to certain pages in her book. The night of discovery and bonding was so intense that it seemed almost dreamlike. Late on Saturday morning, we woke up hesitant to split ways after falling asleep together. She consented to reenacting our favorite parts from the previous night once again. I brought up the fact that I needed to see how the vehicle was doing when she had to get the girls. She proposed spending some time at her mom's house, which would have given me the ideal chance to get the cassettes out of the car and watch them again. I went to the van after she departed, got all the tapes out of it, and drove it back to the studio. I hailed a cab to return me to my vehicle, and then I made my way home. Examining the GPS report was my first step. At the Elm Street Hotel, it verified the whereabouts of her vehicle. This broke my heart. It was devastating to have my darkest worries validated. I had to see the video straight away. Inserting the DVD and bracing myself for the impending heartache, I turned on the TV and the DVD player. The room appeared dead center on the screen, and the picture was sharp as a diamond. I accelerated until I detected an oncoming vehicle, and then I returned to my original pace. Then Noah Collins stepped out of the vehicle, unlocked the door to the room, and vanished inside. As I turned the page, I saw a different vehicle pull up, and a lady rapping on the door was met with a grin from Noah as she stepped into the room. My heart was racing and my pulse was racing as she turned to show her face. I paused the video and watched it through before deleting it. As I said, well, I'll be damned, so did I. William Parker had to be contacted right away. In order to confirm one address, I took out my wife's address book from the drawer of my desk. I was right, the address I was looking for was there. A resolute grin slowly spread over my face. Now that I had all the details, I called William's house and begged him to see me right away. Despite his initial insistence that I visit his residence, I was able to convince him to meet me somewhere. We finally settled on meeting in a restaurant close to the workplace. There we were, 1 hour later. Anna and the children were going to her mom's for supper, so I had the time to myself. I informed William at the meal before showing him the DVD. For some peace and quiet, I took along a portable media player with a little screen and some headphones. Anger was building up inside of him as he observed. At first he was dubious, but later he insisted that Anna couldn't have been involved. Yet, William's face flushed with fury when I played the tape of Jack's meeting with Noah and detailed the whole story involving the two parties. Over time, he came to terms with the reality, even though he had strong feelings for Anna. I suggested that he see the DVD first before making any further assumptions. The look on William's face changed from amazement to anguish as he watched the tape. Because I could see he needed space to think about what he had seen, I averted my gaze. Upon completion, he looked directly into my eyes, as if anticipating my reply. After calming down, I put my request in. I want them both terminated for breaching the moral clause in their contracts, effective by Monday afternoon. With the evidence I've provided, you have the authority to act as you see fit. I want to mention this again, I said with conviction. William nodded firmly when his first amazement subsided. You have my word. This will be handled first thing Monday, and I'll personally escort them off the premises. They are dead to me. There may be further action I'll take, but it's best you don't know the details. I get it. I agree, I said. Then, save from a single little cassette that I retained for personal reasons, I gave him a bag with all the surveillance data. My intentions with my wife required it. After another hour or two of talking, William and I made some more choices that we'll get to later this week. A firm handshake marked our departure. William spoke to me again before I left. Ryan, you've handled this with a level of integrity and composure that is admirable. I appreciate your efforts and respect your actions. Things could have escalated if you hadn't been so level-headed. You have my gratitude and respect, he said. Going home to my family, who were completely oblivious to the changes that were about to happen, was a relief. Everything went swimmingly that night at home, and I felt great. I assured Anna that the next day at work, she would find out more about what had happened, as she was very interested in knowing. We got some restful sleep early since we were sore from the nights before. I was happy to give in to Anna's request for a hug. As the night before, we drifted off to sleep, embraced by one another. Work was humming along well when Monday morning rolled around. Anna contacted me at 9 in the morning, her voice slightly strained with eagerness. After hustling out the following, you want to believe what is happening. William has summoned Jack Turner and Noah Collins to his office. They are in there now, and tensions are high. She hung up and promised to update me later. Anna rang one again after 20 minutes. Jack and Noah were forcibly removed from the premises by William. He has terminated their employment and has requested that I write the termination letters, in which he alleges a violation of the morals clause, she said, her voice betraying both her excitement and her shock. At lunch, Anna gave a detailed account of what had happened earlier in the day, saying, "This is the most unusual event I have ever witnessed as William's secretary. We need to talk over lunch." The way she painted the picture was of security escorting Jack and Noah away and sternly telling them not to come back. William was visibly agitated, and she described an incident in which he scolded her before swiftly apologizing. At some point, she came to me for advice. With an air of pretend ignorance, I said, "How would I know about this?" "Listen to this tape." I gave her a recording of Jack and Noah discussing the hotel. "William told me to ask you." When I pressed him, he just said, "Ask Ryan. He knows everything and opened my eyes to a lot, so spill it." "Listen up before I speak," I said. As she listened, her face became pale towards the conclusion. She took off her headphones and went ballistic, saying, "This is absurd. It's a lie. I never went to any motel with him and never would. You can trust this recording." "Did you show this to William? Does he believe this nonsense too?" "No, he doesn't believe Noah, and neither do I reassured her, trying to put her at ease somehow. Despite her apparent distress, Anna nodded and continued, "But I have something to explain, and I need you to listen without interrupting. I overheard Jack and Noah talking about a week ago. Noah boasted to Jack about an encounter with you at a party, claiming he got you intoxicated and took you to his car. He provided explicit details, and Jack seemed convinced. In fact, Jack was so impressed he wanted in on the next rendezvous. Anna made an attempt to interrupt, but I continued. I needed to know the truth, so I instructed Jack to confront Noah, who admitted to booking a motel room on Elm Street for Friday afternoon during your hair appointment. That raised alarms. How did he know about your appointment unless you told him? She adamantly denied ever informing him. I was at the salon, like I said. My salon is on Elm Street, but I had no idea about any motel rendezvous. You don't believe me? I do believe you, Anna, I said, but I had to verify everything. I used a company surveillance van to monitor your car and record anyone entering the motel room. I viewed the footage on Sunday. A woman did visit Noah, but it wasn't you. Who was it? She inquired in confusion. My revelation was that it was William's wife, Leah. I suspected something was off after talking to Matthew Brooks. He said you and his wife only drank soft drinks at the party and stayed together the whole night, even asking her to stay by your side to deter Noah. I realized Noah was diverting attention from his true companion. Anna's jaw dropped in disbelief. So did you really doubt me? Did you set up surveillance to spy on me? I had to be sure, Anna. Noah's lies created doubt, but I never doubted your integrity. I needed to uncover the truth, and unfortunately, it implicated William's wife. He was devastated when I told him. We continued to talk, reluctantly going back to work. Despite the pain caused by the monitoring, Anna accepted my explanation. Discovering the truth did not fill me with remorse. Now that our relationship had stabilized, I was hell-bent on maintaining it. Nothing out of the ordinary happened for the remainder of the day until Anna told me that William wanted to talk to her that night. It was as if she bought into my pretended lack of knowledge. Anna managed to steal a few moments from the girls' customary mayhem at supper to tell William about their talk. He talked about the importance of trust, respect, and love in a marriage, and the devastation of losing it all. Then he confided in me about Leah's actions and asked for my advice. What did you tell him? I said with curiosity. I encouraged him to reflect on his love for Leah and consider forgiveness if possible. I urged him to have a candid conversation with her, but cautioned against prolonging the decision if reconciliation seemed unlikely. He seemed receptive. Did he mention anything about me? Asked I. She sensed something more and responded, no, nothing specific. Why? Well, yes. William extended an offer for me to become Vice President of Investigations. It involves overseeing all investigators globally and offers substantial financial rewards and benefits, including shares. We could choose to live in Los Angeles or Miami, though IDs still report to William. Anna was filled with excitement. Her happiness was so great that she sprang into my arms. When did this happen? Is this in recognition of your actions today? Actually, he proposed this 6 months ago. I wasn't ready to consider it until now. The thought of losing everything made the decision more tangible. Last week, I feared I might lose you, and it prompted me to reevaluate, I pointed out. Holding me close, she confirmed, Ryan, you could never lose me like that. I wouldn't stray ever. It's out of the question. Do you understand? As we embraced one another, the burden of the previous week began to lighten. I had a fresh feeling of purpose, and our future seemed more defined. We were both so worn out from riding the emotional roller coaster that we went to bed early, where we slept well and rested up for whatever the future held.